Wolfpack wrestling fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, episode 128. I'm your co-host, Brian Reinhardt. In the director's chair, Pat Popolizio. Coach, a lot of travel this weekend.
Yes, it was, Brian. We missed you on there. I know you were sitting in your couch watching wrestling all weekend.
I was. It's kind of nice to have a Flow account. Some of us work for Flow too, so we get a free account, so we get to watch all this wrestling.
I see why we're doing all these articles now.
It pays for itself.
Deservingly so.
Lots of great action. Obviously, you guys went up to Pennsylvania, dual season started, but it was a little bit different. There were some other duels going on at the same time. So that's why we're going to get into it. But Friday night, Reynolds Coliseum, you guys host App State. Each guy, there's only going to be one duel. So is there a little bit different pressure now with the audience and the huge crowd on these guys this weekend?
No, business as usual. Good opportunity. Obviously, being at home in Reynolds, great venue to wrestle in. I know we got a lot of ticket sales out there already, so we expect a good crowd and expect our guys to show up and put a show on. So it's go time. Season's here, Brian.
I know people are excited. You guys weren't at home last fall, so we got.
We got our complaint box right outside my office, and I saw your complaints, and one of them was a first semester duel, so we fixed that for you.
With 2 first semester duels, this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be buy one get one free. Maybe I don't want to step on marketing's feet here, but give the fans a reward here for coming out twice.
Yeah, they will be rewarded. That's for sure. I know there'll be people tailgating, so I expect to see you in the parking lot about 5.
Yeah, great weather. I mean, well, there's a little frost this morning, but I'm sure it'll warm back up. But
that's why you get your hoodie on.
That's the workout hoodie. I'm still in gym mode here. You got me kind of quick here with the let's do this. I wasn't prepared. So I just appreciate your time whenever we can get it. But dual season, you guys started Campbell, won 9 of the 10 matches. Some great results up there. What do you think coming out of that duel? It was a 44-3 win, pretty dominant, lots of good results, some bonus point wins. What was your thinking coming off that duel?
Well, first of all, Campbell's got a really solid squad up and down. They got a lot of guys who've been in their lineup, and they've done a really good job with their program over there. So, we were fortunate enough. A lot of things went our way with some bonus point wins. I think our guys, fell in. Obviously, they create the action to do that, but they fell into bonus points with getting the falls. And we were definitely rusty, and that was expected being the first duel. But, when you look at the score, I think the matches themselves were a little tighter than maybe what that overall score showed. But again, we'll take wins the way we can get them, and bonus point wins especially. So, we want guys who can go out and put the points on the board, get the pins, majors, tax, whatever it is that we're trying to get. And I think we saw a lot of that up and down. And there was a couple really good matches in between too. So it was a good test for us.
The next day, the round robin event, some good results there too, but I think you would have to agree there were some negative results probably too, or some disappointing losses. So how'd you guys kind of handle that coming off the Sunday action?
Yeah, it was. I mean, our expectation when we're competing is to show up and win. And obviously, I think reality of it is that's a tough competition to wrestle. And you're grouped in a pool with people that have very similar resumes, and you're guaranteed 3 matches. So if you're not on your A game, you have 3 matches regardless. And, I think you saw that where guys, how do you respond after a loss? Because you got another really good, you get into a normal bracket, you take a loss, you get put in the wrestle back. Sometimes the competition drops down and you work your way back into some tough matches, but not in this event. You got to turn around and you got another ranked guy right on your heels, and maybe he took a loss, and now you got 2 guys who don't want to lose again. So I think we saw a little bit of that this weekend, and a little disappointing on I guess the aggressiveness, but I think that's something we're going to be able to fix, manage, and we need to get our match count underneath us. And we got a very talented group of guys. We're just going to continue to grow and make sure we're in the right mentality when we step on the mat.
Tons of opportunities, obviously, this weekend with 3 duels, which we're going to touch on. But I think coming out last weekend, kind of the big story for you guys, 125, Vince Robinson. He's a redshirt freshman, we really haven't talked about him too much. He missed some time last year with injury, but he won the 125 A pool, three ranked wins, 2 against NCAA qualifiers, ACC Wrestler of the Year. Obviously, he needs some mat time, but what are the impressions of Vince, not just from this past weekend, but even the whole preseason leading up to this point?
Yeah, I think last year, for any true freshman is always a challenge. We saw a little bit of that with him and getting accustomed to college wrestling, academics, being away from home. All that is, in the past. And now we can focus on competition. One thing I love about Vinny is he's a competitor. He likes to compete. He likes the limelight. He likes, the glare. And I think that's what you're going to get out of him. He's very entertaining to watch, very exciting wrestler. And when he's out there competing, he is dangerous. But no question, I think he made a really good statement. And we got to keep getting better. He knows the areas that we focused on this offseason. He attacked them. It showed that he made a lot of good ground. And week to week, he just has to keep knowing he's one of the best guys in the country. And he's really done everything we've asked him to do behind the scenes with his weight management to the academic side of things. And it makes competition easier when all that stuff's taken care of. All he's got to do is focus on, being ready to compete. And he was a gamer. And we need that right now. We need the leadership. We need guys that can lead by example. And he did that for us this weekend. So super proud of him.
Wrestling at 125, that's no joke. I don't care what wrestler you are, the weight management, weight cut, and all that. I know you haven't seen that weight for quite some time, but
You're talking about great. I was a 25 pounder.
At 225 maybe, but how about moving forward? Maybe immediate future. How do you see 125 Camacho, Robinson? Any idea how that's going to work out? There's so much action here yet still to come.
There's a lot of action and there's a lot of options. We always leave decisions in athletes' hands. And if that's something I want to keep pressing and seeing if, development on either guy. But I think at the end of the day, I think decisions are going to be made. And I would imagine we'll see both those guys in our lineup, during the year. And I'll let these guys figure it out. That's one thing we've always done a really good job is giving everyone an opportunity to get some matches under their belt. And when the time comes, I like our guys to make that decision. And how they do that is how they compete and who they can beat. I think Vinny made a huge statement this weekend beating those 3 ranked guys. And we have, other weights that are still up for grabs. So we'll probably see someone move up at some point. And I think we're going to put the best lineup we can come second semester.
Going into this weekend. Oh, wait, hold on. There's my banner. That thing's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
7 p.m. Reynolds.
We're advertising. Oh, I thought you said I spelled something wrong. I was a little nervous there.
Not you. You're a perfectionist.
Yeah, no, we're good to go. All right. So Friday night, NC State, App State, Reynolds Coliseum, annual tradition with App State. I mean, Coach Bentley just has a heck of a program there. His guys have always given you guys some trouble. We're going to go over a couple of matchups, but App State as a team, it's a great matchup for you guys. I know you really like keeping this one on the calendar every year.
Yeah, you got an in-state school that's done a phenomenal job. Coach Bentley coaches his guys up. They always come here ready to compete. And whether we're home or away, we're in a war with them. And I think it makes us better and gets us more ready as the season progresses. But yeah, definitely one of those where we've got to show up. We got to be ready to compete because they're not going to, come in here expecting to just have matches. They want to come in and knock our guys off, and it makes us wrestle better. We have to elevate our level of competitiveness, and I expect to do that Friday night against a well-coached, hard-nosed App State team.
I think I said this last year too, but thank goodness Jonathan Milner's out there at 149 anymore. He was a fun guy to watch, though.
Yeah, he did a great in-state kid who's done wonders, and he's caused some nightmares for some NC State guy. I think we got one win over him. Hunter Lewis got lucky with a headlock. Well,
it was a pin. I
wasn't lucky. He hit a beautiful headlock. So
it was a good pin back in the
day. At least got one win over him.
A couple great matchups, I think. I mean, there's a bunch of great matchups, but 2 I really wanted to focus on. 141, I'm going to look at Kyle Rini against Sean Carter. These guys actually faced 2 years ago. Carter beat him in Reynolds in extra time with the takedown, but Carter was out with a knee injury, came back, beat Sam Latona from Virginia Tech last week. Obviously, Kai moving up a weight. It's still filling out progress, but Orini Carter is, I think, going to be one of the better matchups here.
Yeah, both guys have a lot of college experience and probably are familiar with each other. So it's one of those. And I do think since, where Kai's been at in his career, where he's at now, he's improved, and so is Carter. So it's going to be another really good contested match. And, you think being a senior on our team at NC State, being at home, it's one that you want to show up and be wrestling your best. And we got to be ready for that match for sure.
And there's another really good one up at 165. Fields will go against number 8, Will Miller. Miller actually beat the kid from Minnesota, I believe, and that was a top 10 win for him. And Miller's been their best wrestler for a couple of years, but Trent Hadley he interviewed Fields' last podcast. I don't know if you watched it or anything, but
always do. I like hearing your voice.
Okay. Well, it wasn't me. It was Trent on that one. But, Trent was saying Fields is one of the most improved guys in the room. He's kind of stepped up to a new leadership role and everything. So kind of talk about Derek and just a top 10 battle at home in Reynolds for him this weekend.
Yeah, I do agree with Trent. I think he's improved a lot with the work that he did this summer. I think it helps a ton when you get an opportunity to be in our lineup and you get to the national tournament and you get that growth and experience. Now you got to come in and utilize that, and that's something Fields has been doing. I liked what I saw out of him this weekend. Wasn't our greatest performance, but there were some defining moments from Fields that I think a year ago the outcome would have been different, where this year he, was losing late in the match and found a way to win. And I think those are the growths. The part of the competitive side that we're looking for is, hey, you're down by a takedown with 20 seconds to go. You have the offense to go score. Now we got to go do it. And he did that in a couple of his matches. And I thought he looked really good in the matches he won. And he's got another really good opportunity to go out and prove himself here at home against a really competitive top 10 guy. So it's one that he's got to bring his A game and have that same kind of confidence. And watching him train in our room and the people he's been going with, he's in there battling with Tommy Gant, Trent, and obviously the guys on the team with Jackson. So he's got a lot of guys in there to push him, and he'll be ready when the time comes.
Speaking of Trent, the other co-host of this podcast, he's on assignment, and he actually filmed a podcast with Nick Costco, Rutgers play-by-play guy for wrestling. So Trent and Nick broke down the Rutgers duel, which you guys have on Sunday, and I'm going to post that here shortly. But speaking of that, after App State, NC State's going up to Jersey, got Princeton, got Rutgers. I assume you're taking the Vans up there.
No, Brian, we're going to be flying, as we do. We get up at 5 a.m, get to the airport, get on our flight, get up there and take care of business as you have had experience doing that with us.
I was going to say, you love taking the Vans. I'm a little surprised.
I know our travel broke you, and that's why we see you on the other side of the fence.
I'll be watching on Flow Wrestling with my free account that I have, but Princeton and Rutgers, those are two good teams that you guys were fortunate to get on your schedule. Obviously up there, going to be a little home cooking for them, but this is going to be a really good Sunday of action with those two teams.
Yeah, and that's what we were looking for when we were building our schedule. We want to go in hostile environments. Rutgers fans are very passionate, rowdy, and it's going to be a fun dual meet. And again, your guys got to bring their A game, ready to compete. It's November, and November is all about the month of development, growth, experience, and at the same time, you got to be ready to compete. So, I think we learned a lot from this past weekend, and I'm excited to see the adjustments that guys have made to be ready to compete against a really good team.
So as I said, Wolfpack Wrestling fans, if you like Trent's voice more than mine on here, next podcast, he'll have a Rutgers preview, which will be really exciting. But Pat, get you out here on this special guest coming up on this episode of the podcast. I'm going to interview Christian Knop. Wrestling, it's a team sport, but it's so much an individual sport. Just two guys out there on the mat. He's replacing Trent Hidley. No one, I think high expectations there at 197 with Trent. And Christian's been in your room for years. You've seen what he's got. This is his time to shine. He's gotten that role. Just talk about Christian a little bit and what you expect of him up at 197 this year.
Well, let's not forget when we recruited Christian, he was Athlete of the Year coming out of Alabama, and that's including all sports. So I think that speaks to his athleticism and who he is as an athlete. Then you combine that with, the 5, 6 years that he's been in our room. I mean, you can't help but be ready. And it's not like he's in these workouts just rolling around with anybody on the team. He's had years training with Trent, still is right now, and Isaac and Owen and Fishback. I mean, the list can go on with all the great guys that he's had a chance to work out with. But when you see him wrestle, he's ready because of the years in the past and the matches he was able to get in our lineup, the tournaments he went on, the red shirt circuits, and all that has made him be ready for this opportunity. And he's just got to go out, enjoy the moment, compete, and let things fly. Because when he wrestles, he's as talented as anyone. And some of that is first time being a starter in our lineup. That comes with a little bit of a price, and he's going to go through some of the ups and downs of that. But I know we believe in him, and his capabilities of competing as an athlete is up there with the best of them.
Great interview coming up with Christian, so stay tuned for that. But Pat, you had a special announcement you're kind of going to share with the fans here.
Oh yeah, our online store. Yeah. So
yeah, this great reveal. Yeah. Now go ahead.
You put
online store. Talk a little bit about that though.
Yeah, well, I was thinking we could have a little line item under here.
Yeah, I didn't get to that. So
it's been a work in progress for the years. Fans have obviously requested, again, in our comment box outside my office. A couple of them put in there that where do they get their gear. Here shortly, we'll be releasing our online store. There's going to be over 100 items on there that you can put out and order stuff that mirrors everything that we wear as an athlete and coaches. So between youth, women's, and men's, you will be able to get anything you want. You'll look great in the new vest. There's a vest line on there, Brian. I think it's time for you to go to a vest. We have cut-off hoodies. You got sublimated shirts. You got shorts. You name it, we have it. Everyone's going to be rocking out some NC State gear when we see them at home matches. So I'm pumped and excited, and we got to get our sales out there. So opportunity is there for people to purchase anything they want with NC State wrestling.
Yeah, Coach Hall isn't here, so sweater vests are going to be kind of taking a dip in sales.
Zach, we were watching some old film, and we saw Zach in the corner coaching. Wow. Zach was a big vest guy, so maybe he'll carry that tradition.
Okay, but great. Yeah, the NC State store coming out. We'll put that on social media, I'm sure. I haven't gotten NC State gear for about 5-6 years, so I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, maybe I'll get some leftovers. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I know with all the overtime you work now, you can afford to buy a polo or a hoodie.
Down to a medium. I've been working out pretty well here.
Look it.
Pat, thanks for catching us up. Once again, Wolfpack fans, come out. Reynolds Coliseum, Friday night, NC State, App State. Great day of wrestling. Pat, I know you and your squad would love to see it packed.
Packed, Reynolds. Before that, we have our golf outing that will be here in Raleigh starting around 10 o'clock. For more information, it's all over our social media, email, and we can get you more information, but there's still a few spots open. There's going to be a good turnout for that. We're going to roll that right into probably Reynolds parking lot a little bit before, and then roll that right into Reynolds Arena starting at 7 p.m. So it's going to be an action-packed Friday.
Great night of action Friday. Sunday on Flow, Princeton, Rutgers. It's going to be fun to watch duels all week, and I know that's what you've been doing all week, but fun to watch NC State wrestling duels, Pat.
Yep, it'll be there. So we're looking forward to the competition that lies ahead.
Fans, stay tuned for our feature interview with Christian Knop coming up next. Now join us in the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, NC State 197-pounder Christian Knop. Christian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Brian.
Coming off practice today, I assume?
Yes, sir.
So what you work on in practice?
Just getting to my attacks, hand fighting, working on a little bottom, just little details preparing for Friday.
I was going to say Friday, App State, big duel. We're going to get into that, but I think we have to get a little background on you first. From Alabama, how did you get into wrestling growing up in Alabama?
You know, I saw a flyer one day for an after-school program, and I don't know what it was, but it just caught my eye. I was never really big into football, but just kind of crazy being from Alabama and everything. But I wanted to try it, and I had to really convince my dad to let me try it. And once I did, I kind of fell in love with it. So it's just something that I took a quick liking to and just stayed persistent with it.
I was gonna say, is it true? In high school as a senior, Alabama Athlete of the Year.
Yes, that is true. That is
Wow.
true.
So how did you stay off the football field?
You know, it was crazy because I had a lot of high school coaches, especially at my high school, saying, come out, come out. But I was really, really adamant about, staying off the field, keeping healthy for wrestling, and going to college for wrestling. So yeah, I just kind of avoided it.
Okay. So from Alabama, how did you find NC State, or what made NC State a draw for you?
So I don't know if many people know this, but there's not a lot of Division I wrestling schools in the South. So I had to start looking sort of north, and I remember watching the NCAA's, and I want to say 2018, and seeing a lot of guys from NC State, a lot of blue collar guys that weren't really expected to do much. You had Tariq Wilson, Michael Machiavello, and a lot of blue collar guys, and I saw the success that they were having. And that kind of just drew me to the program. And then I saw Machiavello win the title at 197, and I was sold. I was like, if he can do that, being a small town boy from North Carolina, then I can do it. Being a small town boy from Alabama.
Did you have to make a choice coming up to NC State between being a 197 or heavyweight at all?
I was kind of between 184 and 197. I think that was my projected weight class because I was kind of still small for 197. But once I got, once they got a hold of me and started getting me on a good lifting program, 197 was the way to go.
You've been here at NC State for quite some time. Do you remember the year you came to campus?
Yes, it was pre-COVID. I don't know if anybody remembers pre-COVID. That just speaks to how old I am and how long I've been here. But pre-COVID, 2019, everything was great. I enjoyed my first year. It was a bit tough at first. We had a really, really solid room with your Trent Hidleys and everything like that. And it was a brief adjustment period, but I enjoyed it.
In that freshman season, you missed most of it too, didn't you? Is that when you had your knee injury? So was it tough adapting as a freshman and not being able to be probably in the room as much as you thought you would be?
It was tough, staying on the sidelines, kind of seeing guys get better, and it was even tougher because my time kind of got set back with COVID and everything. So it was really tough being injured that first year, but I think that redshirt year allowed me to really mature and really just like a mindset change that I know that I'm not invincible. I really need to take care of my body, and training is really important, but recovery and taking care of myself is just as important.
I was going to say, you're in your sixth year. I'm sure it's a lot different from training as a freshman. Did you think you'd come back for a sixth year? Was there a little debate, or is this kind of what you've always wanted to do?
I didn't even grasp the concept that a 6 year was even possible my freshman year. I thought I was going to be like a 4 and done type of guy. But once I started seeing guys, taking red shirts, coming back for their 5th year, coming back for their 6th year, even 7th year, I knew that it was on the table, especially for me coming in during that COVID period, getting that extra year. I knew it was something that I was interested in, and I just kept being persistent, and here we are.
What's it say for you? I mean, you've kind of had to wait your turn here a little bit, where a lot of guys transfer, a lot of guys leave, but you've had patience. You stuck with the program, stuck working out. How proud are you just to have stuck it out, and now you're being rewarded this season?
I think it speaks volumes. I just love the room. I love the NC State environment so much, regardless of, where I am in the lineup. And I knew that I was going to continue to get better regardless of where I was. And I knew that if I kept working hard and, kept asking questions and doing all the right things, that my time would eventually come. And that was kind of the motivation for me for sticking it out for so long.
Wrestling's a team sport, obviously, but it's also very individual. I mean, you guys are out there one-on-one. You're following Trent Hidley, probably one of the greatest wrestlers in school history. A lot of eyes on 197. So what was your mindset kind of going into this season with those expectations?
Trent, great wrestler, one of the best ever. I really look up to Trent a lot, and really big shoes to fill. And I knew I had to step up and kind of take on that leadership role with a lot of guys graduating and everything like that, and Trent being such an integral part of the program for so many years. So I knew I had to step up, train harder, train smarter, and really just focus in on minor details and just do all the right things to kind of fulfill those expectations, if you will.
Very early in the season, we're only 2 weekends in, but what kind of are your thoughts so far on your results on the mat?
It's going to be a brief adjustment period. Conditioning I think is there, but I don't think I'm as good as I will be later in the season. It's just early. But I'm continuing to get better every single day. Everybody in the room is continuing to get better, and I think we're training really, really smart and making sure that we'll peak at the right times.
Friday night, App State, you have a very good matchup guy. He's right in the rankings too, right around yourself. But you're going to step out on the mat in Reynolds Coliseum. Extra excitement for you?
Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this moment for so long. So I think if anything, it's more excitement than it is nerves or anxiousness. I'm really excited to go out and compete.
So what happens if they start at 125 and you have to sit around for 2 hours and wait?
Oh man, I've always hated that about my weight class, having to sit around and wait all day. But it'll be fun to kind of just sit back and enjoy the duel for a little bit. And I've always had to do that. So, whether they call 197 first or 125, I'll be ready to go.
Any hint or clue to a walkout song?
I don't know yet. I'm like between like three songs. So I guess I'll have to keep you guys on your toes. I guess you guys will find out on Friday.
And then you guys going to turn around. Huge weekend after that up in New Jersey. 197 for Princeton and Rutgers. Those guys are just two of the best in your weight class and really going to challenge you. How excited are you? Just this whole weekend, you got a lot of good matches coming up.
Oh, for sure. I always don't budge when it comes to good competition. I seek out good competition. I think in our room we have a lot of good bigger guys with Trumbull and Owen and Trent, and I think that really prepares me well for moments like this. So I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to really show what I'm capable of, and I'm just excited to be able to go out and compete.
So going off the mat, what's your major right now? What are you kind of getting a degree in?
So right now I'm doing a non-degree study, just taking some classes just so that I can be able to compete. I actually got my sociology degree last semester. So right now I'm not really looking towards a degree, but I would like to go to grad school after I'm done, for something that I got my bachelor's in.
Okay. So 7th year next year. What if you're invited back?
Oh man, I guess we'll see how my body holds up. 6 years of college wrestling is a lot, but I mean, we never know what the cards hold, so I guess we'll see.
And get you out here on this kind of a fun question. So you never told us your age. How old are you right now?
I'm 23. I actually turned 24 in 9 days. So the day right before the Utah Valley Duel.
Okay. So next weekend. Okay, maybe a good birthday present, Utah Valley, but
for sure.
There's 17, 18-year-olds coming in. You're a little bit of an older guy. So what do you do to relax, or how do you hang out with guys now? Is there anything in particular that you like doing now?
I've always been a bit of an old soul, with the schedule and everything. I kind of just like, going on walks, going home and relaxing, and with the schedule and everything, I think that's really needed. But, I still try and stay young and hip, and I hang out with the younger guys. And I feel like now I'm in more of a leadership role than than I was, especially now being in like the starting lineup. I got to
Mhm.
set an example for these younger guys and kind of bestow my wisdom upon them,
Okay.
if you will. But yeah, I still try and stay young and get out and do stuff. But
Christian, it's just great catching up with you. We're all looking forward. Can't wait. Friday night, NC State, App State. I know you're all ready. We still have a couple more days to get there, but fans are really looking forward to seeing you out on the mat this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Brian.
Wolfpack fans, that's another edition of the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, go Pack.